What's up guys, Josh with Russell Marine Products here. Today we're going to talk about several different Garmin transducers. What are they? What are their frequencies? And what do you use them for? Stick around. All right guys, like I said, today we're going to go over a few of the heavily used Garmin transducers, and we're talking about freshwater here. So some of these will go into mild offshore stuff, but the big difference here, Garmin has a wide selection of offshore or deeper water transducers. They run a lot of Airmar stuff and things like that. So we're not really getting into that today. This is going to be heavily used or widely used freshwater transducers and what you might see them in. So let's get going here. We'll start with the 2D sonars first, and let's start with the GT8. The GT8 transducer transmits at 145 to 230 kilohertz at 250 watts of output. So what do we mean there? That is a high-wide chirp transducer. This is 2D only. Now the GT8 can be used in two different manners. You can do a shoot-through hole setup for fiberglass guys, or you can do a transom-mounted version of it that either go on aluminum boats, or I suppose you could use it on a fiberglass boat as well. You can use that by itself if you're just wanting 2D, but where we see this used the most is in a shoot-through hole, or again, a shorter transom mount thing so you can hold depth at plane. That's really important when you're at speed to be able to maintain the depth reading on your screen. The next one we'll go into is the GT15. The GT15 transducer transmits from 85 to 165 kilohertz in chirp at 600 watts of output. So this is what's known as a mid-chirp transducer. This is designed to run in the same types of applications as the GT8. In other words, you can run it as a shoot-through hole or a transom-mounted transducer, but this is built for deeper water. So if you're on, Great Lakes, western states where the lakes get a lot deeper, Lake of the Ozarks, stuff like that, you may want the GT15 just so you have greater clarity at depth. The lower the frequency, the further the range you get out of it. In our experience with our installs, 99% of the time, we're running with the GT8. So from those two 2D sonars, those are the two big ones for freshwater. Let's run into the 2-in-1 style transducers. So these transducers are going to only offer cleared view and side view. Side imaging, down imaging. That's the Garmin nomenclature. Clear view is down imaging, side view is side imaging. Now, where these become very important on your EchoMap family of units, they will only take one source of 2D sonar at a time. What that means, when you break it down, you cannot have one of the mainstream transducers that, say, the ones that come with a unit that has 2D included, and run a shoot-through hole 2D like the two transducers we just covered. What you'll need is one of these 2-in-1 transducers, a Y cable set up, and then you would pair it with one of those standalone 2D transducers. So again, you get depth at plane, but you still get excellent side and down imaging. So let's just rock and roll on these. So the first one is going to be the GT30. The GT30 fires at a frequency of 455 to 800 for clear view and side view, and that's at 500 watts of output. So that is going to be a good all-around transducer. This is not a UHD transducer. UHD in Garmin is ultra high definition, and that's not what this is. They're still solid, but you're not going to get the detail of the next couple that we're going to talk about here. But these will be great with any of your pre-UHD or pre-EchoMap Ultra units. You still can use them with that, but anything you can use a UHD transducer on, I highly recommend doing that. But for your older EchoMap units, the GT30 paired with the GT8 is going to be the way to go. The next one in the 2D transducers is going to be the GT34. The GT34 shoots at 800 kilohertz in clear view, 1200 kilohertz in side view, and it is also a 500 watt output. higher kilohertz, more detail. So kind of like we talked about on the 2D stuff, the lower the frequency, the greater the range. But the higher the frequency, the higher the clarity. The 34 is where we're getting into the UHD territory. So it is designated as a GT34 UHD. The GT34 UHD, again, would be used paired with a standalone 2D sonar through a Y cable, but you're going to get high definition, really amazing side imaging at that 1200 kilohertz, solid clear view at the 800 kilohertz, and still pairing with that same either high, wide, or mid 2D transducer, but that is going to start with the EchoMap UHD line or the EchoMap Ultra line. In the GPS maps, it's going to be in the 8600 series is when you can start doing UHD, or into the 943, 1243 guys. Again, any unit, it has to be UHD compatible. So the last one of the 2-in-1 transducers that we'll talk about here is the GT36. Now the GT36 transducer is the latest in UHD technology from Garmin. This thing shoots at 455, 800, or 1000 kilohertz in clear view and side view, meaning it has a wider range, so it covers deeper water all the way up to shallow water in really clear view. Also with that 500 watts of output, so it's really putting the information out there, and it's going to give you the clearest picture possible no matter what depth you're in. So the GT36, if you have a UHD capable unit, this is the way to go, guys. The GT36, again, as long as you can pull off UHD, do it, you know. We talk about the 34 and the 30 just because they are out there. You can find them on the used market from time to time, and it's something to kind of weigh out. We have some comparison videos too, but when you look at the ability to go 455 all the way up to 1000 and have that higher output, you really start seeing the difference there in your picture and your clarity. That's what makes the GT36 the king of the mountain on the 2-in-1 sonars from Garmin. So now that we've done the 2D onlys and the 2-in-1s, now let's do the all-in-one transducers. These are the transducers that offer 2D, clear view, and side view all-in-one transom mounted package. These are going to be the transducers that you see come with a unit. So if you're buying a EchoMap with a transducer, you're generally going to see, depending on the time it was released, one of these three would be included with it. So we're going to start with the GT52 transducer. The GT52 transducer transmits at 455 and 800 for clear view and side view at 350 watts of output. So think back what we were just talking about. That's a lower output. Even though it's that same frequency as that GT30, which is its kind of 2-in-1 contemporary. That's what they compare apples to apples to. So with the 52, again, if you're using a pre-UHD capable unit, one of the most common pairings we see here was the EchoMap Plus line, which was a great set of units from a few years ago. They were not UHD capable, so we see those paired often with that GT52 and a wide range of the GPS map family units, because most of them up until very recently were not UHD capable. So the GT52 found a good home there, again, for an all-in-one transom mounted or trolling motor mounted transducer to get all three modes of sonar from. The next one in line is the GT54. The GT54 transducer shoots a straight 800 kilohertz in clear view, and it goes 455 or 1200 in side view at, again, that 350 watts of output. The GT54 was the first UHD transducer release from Garmin, kind of really brought them up to speed with the other guys as far as their transducer technology. You know, a few years ago when Garmin started really kind of doing this push back into freshwater, the big thing that they were lagging behind on was their standard imaging, right? So livescope was out, it was doing great, mapping's good, GPS is good, but their side and down was just kind of meh. Well, the 54 came out, got them back into the fight with this UHD technology. You started seeing these on the original EchoMap UHDs, and then these were the original transducers that were released with the EchoMap Ultra units. These are very solid, very viable transducers. As a matter of fact, there's still the transducer that's included in the Garmin Force trolling motor. Even now that they've moved on with technology, that's still what comes with the Garmin Force. And it's a good transducer, it works really well. And again, it will work with any UHD capable unit, whether it be GPS map or Echo map. The very last one we'll go over today, guys, is going to be the GT56. Now, the GT56 transducer will range from 455, 800, or 1,000 in clear view and side view in kilohertz and have 500 watts of output. So what you're seeing with this GT56, it's kind of the culmination of all these other transducers we've talked about wrapped into one. So you're getting the wide range of being able to do 455, 800, or 1,000, so you can cover multiple depths of water with great clarity, all the way from deep up to shallow. And it's that increased 500 watt output that we were seeing from the 2-in-1 transducers. So for an all-in-one transducer, this GT56 is really, really good. I've seen guys run these things, and when they dial in, I would put them against any side imaging on the market when someone can really set them up and go through good settings. It's just a really well-built transducer. If you're buying a new Garmin unit, excuse me, that's UHD capable, this is really going to be your go-to for an all-in-one in any Garmin unit that's UHD capable. It's going to be this GT56. So the last part I want to cover out of all of this, so all of the 3-in-1 transducers that I just talked about, the GT52, the 54, and the 56, they all run the same high-wide chirp frequencies that you would see in a GT8. So in other words, if you're running the pairing of one of the 2-in-1 transducers in an Echo map with a Y cable with the GT8 transducer, you're going to get the same exact 2D returns that you would with a 3-in-1 transducer, that excellent chirp, but with the added benefit in the shoot-through setup of holding depth at speed. A lot of info, guys, like I said, but I hope this has been really helpful. I hope it identifies what might work best for your setup. If you have any more questions, or if you're not sure quite what works with your unit, give us a call, 316-313-4113, or shoot us an email at sales@russellmeanproducts.com, and we'll be happy to help you. We'll see you guys next time.